Pozdrowienia, bracia! It's your boy the Donkey, and today we are trying a Polish beer. And I sure hope I didn't offend any Polish viewers with my attempt at speaking Polish, and I'm not entirely sure if that actually translates to greetings, brethren. I just really hope it does. I hope I didn't insult anybody's mother. Today we are trying Zywiec, I think. Zywiec? I'm not entirely sure. The Google Translate wasn't sure what to call this, so I'm just going to go with Zywiec. This is a beer that my lovely, wonderful friend Carla brought me because her boyfriend is Polish, and so they sometimes go to Poland, and she brought me this, and I think that's lovely because obviously I never go to Poland. Well, I don't know why that's obviously, but I never really go to Poland. It's really far away from where I live, so you need a reason to go there. Maybe one day I'll go visit Eastern Poland. I hear they have some lovely steppes there with bears. I would love to camp there, just to tell the bears to get fucked. Anyway, we'll have a try. I think this is just a Pilsner. I'm not entirely sure because the can is actually just in Polish. So, I don't know. I think as far as I can tell, this is 12.3% Stammwürze, whatever that is in English. So like the sort of the mash, the hop part of the mash. 5.6% alcohol, which is pretty solid. If this is a Pilsner, that's quite a lot. So maybe it's not a Pilsner. We'll see. It's a can, which is of course always a downside. I'm going to be tasting some metal, but I know ahead of. Oh, that's an interesting smell. Okay, that's not exactly what I expected. This is a lot more alcoholic smelling. Almost reminds me in smell of like a pale ale, which is intriguing. We'll see what this is actually like. There you go. There's your ASMR for the day. We have a pretty lovely Pilsner color, not much of a head. I really went for that one, so I guess you don't get too much head with the smell is really odd. I don't really know how to place it. And because I don't speak Polish, I'm not entirely sure what the can says. Browar. I don't know. I'm not even gonna attempt it. We'll just go purely by taste. I don't know nothing about this beer. Not sure. I know that they have been brewing since 1856, which is quite a long time ago. So hopefully they know what they're doing. And you know, people like it enough that they've been in business for that long. So let's see. Oh, that's quite interesting. Ha! That's not at all what I expected. I think, bear with me here, I don't know, of course, but this tastes like a top fermentation yeast beer. So this reminds me a lot more, if I compare this to German beers, this reminds me a lot more of a Kölsch or an Altbier, or, you know, more traditional Landbier, Kellerbier type things that don't use the lager bottom fermentation yeast, but aren't ales, of course. This has that kind of flavor, and sorry, there's a bunch of burps coming right now. I've tried to explain this before, where these kinds of beers, they have an interesting taste to them that comes from that specific type of yeast that makes them just very different from lagers and from ales. They have that sort of unique flavor profile to them that only those sort of top fermentation beers have. So I don't know if this is actually a top fermentation beer. I might be talking complete nonsense right now, but that's what I'm getting from this. It's that same sort of yeah, it's that same sort of almost fermented nutty quality. So if you were to mash up a bunch of nuts and ferment that, that's kind of what I'm getting from that. Sort of like a pickled nuts, I suppose. I don't know. Look, I'm just making things up here to describe it because it's just such a unique flavor that it's just, yeah. It's so hard to place that. It's really interesting, and I like it. I think it's a very nice beer. Again, it does remind me a lot more of those kinds of North German sort of Kölsch and Altbier kind of things. But yeah, really, really interesting, and not bad at all. This is definitely a beer I could see myself drink a bunch of at like a like a country fair or something like that, where you just sit at a table and you talk to people and you just knock a few back. This is one of those beers that you can knock a few back of. Yeah, really, really intriguing. I'm gonna try my best to talk about the other things going on. So that's quite a lot of it's with a lot of these top fermentation beers, you get a lot of savoriness. And that makes that additional sort of nutty flavor that they have going on, that comes with a little bit of sort of acidity. It makes that even more interesting, because usually that sort of heavy savory component usually comes with a high bitterness beer, something like a pilsner or a dark lager. Those beers have usually, a really, really strong savory component to them. Or, or then you go in the crazy other direction of red beers and, all the smoky stuff. But with this, you don't really get all of those things. You get the savoriness, but you don't get there's no smokiness whatsoever to this. So it's so interesting to me because it really feels like you drink it and you think, oh, I'm drinking a pilsner, but then there's no bitterness whatsoever, or at least very little of it. You're like, where's the bitterness? It should be hitting now, but it just isn't coming, and it's so bizarre, but I like it. There's almost also no sweetness really to this, which makes me wonder what the ingredients of this are. I would really love to know. Ooh, I can already tell as well that this is a beer you're gonna get smashed off of. Ooh, ooh, because you do definitely not taste the 5.6% off of this. So if you're actually gonna be at a country fair downing a couple of these, you're gonna be absolutely locked. Buzzed out of your mind. Yeah, I don't know. I know so little. I can tell that it's supposed to be 6 degrees when you drink it, which I think it is about. So I think I did a good job there. But I can't find any ingredients on here. I have no idea. So I'm just going to assume that there is some stuff in there that, as a German, I would generally consider not to belong into beer. But I can't really place it. It's very difficult to say specifically what the flavors are. It's definitely an interesting beer. What would I rate it? Now that's the question, is it not? I definitely find it surprisingly pleasant. I'm usually not overly fond of those kind of top fermentation yeast beers, just because I'm so incredibly used to lagers. You have to understand, when you grow up in South Germany and you start drinking at 16, because that's pretty much what happens, officially at least. Unofficially, you probably start drinking at 13, 14. And most of the beers you're going to get are lagers. They're pilsners, pale lagers, dark lagers, Kellerbiers, Zwickel, Märzen, all of those. It becomes difficult to appreciate some other types of beers, just because you're so used to what you're used to, you know? I mean, if you grow up on ales, then that's your sort of baseline, right? So you might maybe be more open to a pale ale, to an IPA, I don't know, but maybe not as open to a dark lager, which I think is an acquired taste for a lot of people. I like them, but you know, I don't know. I'm just assuming at this point. But yeah, with this one, it's so odd because there are certain expectations it gives me just off of, you know, what it looks like, that it just very strange beer. But I'm definitely not hating it. So I think I'm going to give this a 5.5 out of 10. I think it is an above average beer. It is certainly really interesting and nice to drink. Goes down really smooth. As I said, if you are somewhere with people and you're drinking and people keep putting this in front of you, you're going to be gone. But yeah, I'm not quite at the point where I would say, ooh, this is one I'm going to seek out a lot. You know, if I get it, I'm not going to be upset about it. It's pretty nice. I'm definitely going to finish it as well. So, yeah, I think 5.5 is about where I would put this. Definitely really interesting, though. So if you were ever in Poland and you can get Zywiec, however you actually pronounce this, I would recommend it. It's very interesting. And I have had some other Polish beers, which I wasn't as much of a fan of, so this is definitely, I think so far, the best Polish beer I've tried. But there are more Polish beers because the lovely Carla has provided me with more beers to try from that strange country to the east. I hope you enjoyed this little review of this strange Polish beer that I've never seen before and that is still kind of perplexing me with its odd tastes. And I hope you have a lovely evening. And please come back for another beer on another day and join me as I drink myself stupid. Take care, guys.